The old farmhouse had been in my family for nearly 80 years. My grandfather built it by hand after returning from military service, and every generation since had protected the land with pride. When I retired from the federal bench, I came home believing life would finally be peaceful. One Monday morning, I noticed several strangers walking across my pasture carrying measuring wheels, survey flags, and clipboards. They weren't county officials, and no one had asked permission to enter my property. When I politely asked who would authorize the survey, one worker handed me an HOA map, according to their paperwork. They believed part of my family's land should become a new neighborhood entrance and recreational area. I thanked them for explaining, and walked inside to retrieve the original property deed my grandfather had carefully preserved. Before discussing anything further, I want to compare their proposal with the official county records. That evening, I compared every legal description with the county plat maps. The boundaries were unmistakable. My family's deed had remained unchanged for decades, and the proposed HOA expansion stopped well short of my property line. The following afternoon, 3 black SUVs rolled slowly up my gravel driveway. Linda Harrison stepped out first, followed by 3 sharply dressed attorneys carrying legal binders. They introduced themselves politely and explained they wanted to discuss what they believed was an unresolved property issue. Linda explained that the HOA planned to expand the neighborhood entrance and believed purchasing a portion of my family's land would simplify the project. I listened carefully, thanked her for the proposal, and asked to review every document before discussing any next steps. Inside the proposal packet, I noticed several maps that appeared to rely on a newer development drawing rather than the original county records. I politely pointed out the difference and suggested we compare both sets of documents before reaching any conclusions. One attorney suggested that the development plans had been used for years without question. I nodded respectfully and replied that the county deed records would provide the most reliable answer. Everyone agreed that verifying the official records was the best next step. As the meeting came to a close, I thanked everyone for taking time to visit. Before they left, I mentioned that I had spent decades interpreting legal documents and appreciated the importance of relying on accurate records. The visitors exchanged surprised glances, realizing there was much more to my background than they had expected. The next morning, I drove to the county recorder's office with the original deed that my grandfather had signed decades earlier. I wanted certified copies directly from the county before anyone made assumptions about the property boundaries. Facts always speak louder than opinions. The county survey supervisor carefully compared the historic deed with today's digital parcel maps. After several minutes, he smiled politely and confirmed that the original legal description still matched the official county database exactly. Armed with certified copies, I invited Linda and her legal team back to the farmhouse. This time, every document on the table came directly from county records rather than development plans or unofficial drawings. One by one, we compared every page. The parcel numbers, survey bearings, and legal descriptions all pointed to the same conclusion. The land had remained in my family's ownership without interruption for nearly 8 decades. Before anyone could continue the discussion, one of the attorneys paused and asked about my legal background. I smiled, walked to the hallway closet, and returned carrying the black robe I had worn during years of federal judicial service. The room fell completely silent as everyone realized why I had been so confident in every conversation. Linda quietly apologized for assuming the property records were incorrect. I thanked her for saying so and explained that disagreements over land are best resolved with documentation, patience, and respectful conversation rather than assumptions. One attorney suggested hiring an independent licensed surveyor so every question could be answered objectively. Everyone agreed. A fresh professional survey will remove any remaining uncertainty once and for all. The survey took 2 full days to complete. Every monument, property marker, and legal description matched the county records exactly. The final report confirmed that my family's ownership had never changed. After reviewing the new survey, the HOA attorneys recommended changing the development plans rather than pursuing further disagreement. The board accepted their advice and agreed to redesign the neighborhood entrance entirely within HOA-owned property. After reviewing the new survey, the HOA attorneys recommended changing the development plans rather than pursuing further disagreement. The board accepted their advice and agreed to redesign the neighborhood entrance entirely within HOA-owned property. Several months later, the county invited me to speak at a property rights seminar attended by surveyors, attorneys, and homeowners. I accepted, hoping our experience would help others avoid similar misunderstandings through accurate records and respectful communication. During the seminar, I explained that even experienced professionals should rely on certified deeds, official surveys, and county records before making decisions about land ownership. Good documentation prevents costly mistakes and unnecessary disputes. After the presentation, Linda approached me and thanked me once again for handling the situation professionally. She admitted the experience had changed how the HOA reviewed property issues and future development plans. The redesigned neighborhood entrance was completed later that summer. Visitors admired its beautiful landscaping, never realizing the project had succeeded because everyone chose cooperation over conflict. One quiet evening, I walked across the same fields my grandfather once farmed. The land looked exactly as it had for generations. Protecting our family's history had never been about winning an argument. It had always been about preserving a legacy built through honesty, patience, and respect for the law. A local historical society later asked if they could document my family's farm for the county archives. I gladly agreed, hoping future generations would understand how carefully preserving original deeds and records protects both history and property right.